Hi there, Ange. Can we just start off, first of all, with team news and if Lucas Bergvall is fit and available to play?
Team news, pretty much the same as last week. No, Lucas isn't available, so pretty much the same as we were as of last week.
Ian, please.
Hello, Ian Dennis, BBC 5 Live. I was struck by your story the other week about the Stonecutter's Creed, and it's not quite 101 games, but it is still a significant milestone for you. It's your 100th match in charge, and I just wonder, how would you assess the impact that you have made in the last 2 years?
Yeah, hopefully that 101st blows tomorrow, mate, not on Sunday. It's hard to sort of kind of contextualise sort of the challenges of the last couple of years. I guess from my perspective, I came into the club with some pretty clear objectives about what the priorities were for the club in terms of taking over. Tried as hard as I can to kind of stick to that process of getting the club to a position where, they can challenge for trophies and at the same time rejuvenate a squad and change the playing style. It's been a fair assignment, and without its, plenty of challenges along the way. But I guess with such a sort of big game tomorrow, there is an opportunity to kind of fulfil at least the main task I was sort of given, and that is to bring trophies to the club.
Just two quick ones, actually. I want to check Pat Matasar, then presumably
he's fine, mate.
Fine. And secondly, just ask the players, Sonny and Porro, about the barbecue they had. Apparently you were quite keen on the players taking part in this kind of little bonding thing together at the training ground. Just wanted to ask about that.
It was player-driven. Mate, I'm an Aussie. I'd never say no to a barbecue, so they didn't have to twist my arm. So, but yeah, no, it was player-driven. The boys felt it was a good time for them to sort of just have a kind of relaxing afternoon. We have the luxury at the training ground of a really nice sort of barbecue area. Unfortunately, I had to fulfil my commitments with you guys, so I missed the best of it. But they're the sacrifices I have to make, mate.
Viaplay Norway. It's, of course, a big and huge occasion. Two things, the Champions League qualification and the trophy. But what would be the biggest thing? Is it to win the trophy itself or to qualify for the next season's Champions League?
As you said, great prize. You know the significance of Champions League qualification, what it means for every football club to get into the Champions League. It's, there are the obvious benefits, but also you get the opportunity to play against the best in the continent. But the club's been in the Champions League before, hasn't won a trophy for a long time, so that's the most important bit.
Hi, Ange. If you win tomorrow night, this is going to be remembered as one of the best seasons in the club's modern history. But kind of conversely, if you lose, it might be remembered for one of the worst league seasons in the club's modern history. I just wondered if you're kind of conscious that you're walking a fine line between kind of two very different types of infamy and history, really.
That depends on your outlook, Dan, but I'll tell you one thing, irrespective of tomorrow, I'm not a clown. I never will be, mate. And you're really disappointed that you would use such terminology about a person who, for 26 years, without any favours from anyone, who's worked his way to be in a position where he's leading out a club in a European major competition. For you to suggest that somehow us not being successful means that I'm a clown, not really sure how to answer that question.
Good evening, Mr. Postecoglou, Simone Terno, Eurosport.it. You played Manchester United 3 times this season and you defeated all the 3 times. I'm kind of curious to understand, do you feel more pressure about this because you already did that and now you feel that you have to do it again? Or is it something that makes you more confident because you actually did it, so you can do it again? Which one is more, confident or pressure?
Neither, because it's a final and you know that those kind of things aren't important. I mean, if we had have lost all 3 games, your question probably would be, do you feel the pressure because you can't beat them? So what I do know is, and I've been in a situation a few times in my careers in the big games, even your form going into it, even if you've got terrible form, and there's been plenty of competitions where you go into it, it doesn't matter. What matters is how the players cope with the occasion tomorrow, how they cope with understanding the importance of the game. From both clubs, you just don't know how players will react to such a big occasion. And, you know, my role in that is to try and prepare the players in the best possible way, and also to prepare the players for Manchester United to be at their best. That's what you have to prepare for. And if you prepare that way and then you go out there and sort of play to the potential that you can, then you give yourself an opportunity. But I don't think it really matters what you've done before against any opposition when it comes to big games. Maybe in a league that it's a bit different, but I think in a big important final, everything gets decided on the day.
Matt. Here, and back. João. Here. No.
Just at the front first, please, and then we'll come to you.
I thought you were throwing your voice there for a second.
Ange, a lot of people seem to think this might be your penultimate game in charge. What do you think? Does it matter?
Doesn't matter, really. It doesn't matter, because the reality of it is the opportunity is the same for me, and more importantly for the club. I've said before, whatever happens beyond tomorrow is kind of irrelevant when you think about the opportunity that exists right now, and that is to provide something special for this football club and for the supporters and for everyone who's worked so hard, not just this year, but for the last however years, 15, 16 years been for a trophy, and 41 years for a European trophy. I think that, if I was worried about my tenure at this football club, fair to say we wouldn't be in this position, because I would have been distracted long ago. I'm pretty good at just sort of making sure that all my focus is on, giving this football club the best opportunity it has had for a while to do something special. And whatever happens after that, mate, I'm very, very comfortable that I'll continue on trying to win trophies wherever I am.
Now here. I'm João Barreto from Casé TV. We are from Brazil. I want to ask you about Richarlison. What is the difference when he plays and when he doesn't? What the team gain with him? And I heard that you came to Brazil like years, and you became a Vasco fan. Is it true?
I have to be careful about who I support, because maybe I'll coach in Brazil one day and they'll tell me, and I end up, I don't know, it's Corinthians or something, and it'll cause me problems. Firstly, Richie, so pleased for him because he's had a tough time, Richie, not just this year, but since he's been at Tottenham. He's had some injury problems. He's never really had a stretch of games, but, and it's been very tough on him, both physically but also emotionally. But he's in a really good place now. Physically, he's worked really hard on his fitness, and, he plays with so much passion and determination, Richie. Every time he plays, he just gives 100%. He has quality as well, and it's great to have him in the team. I think for us, he provides something different to our other attacking players. He's already made a big impact for us in the Europa Cup, and particularly in the semi-final. And just really pleased for him that through all the difficult times he's had, he's now in a place where he's fit, he's available, and he's excited about contributing. And I've always loved Brazilian football. I actually played against Vasco da Gama in 1985. They came to Australia, and Roberto Dinamite was playing at the time, and I got his shirt, and I still have it. So every time I visited Brazil, there's always an association with Vasco. Obrigado.
Coach, καλησπέρα. Αλέξανδρος Ξενικάκης από την τηλεόραση του Αντένα από Ελλάδα.
Πού είσαστε?
Εδώ, στο βάθος. Συγχαρητήρια. Θα ήθελα μια πιο προσωπική ερώτηση να σας κάνω. Είστε ο πρώτος Αυστραλός αλλά και ο πρώτος Έλληνας που θα προπονήσει μια ομάδα στον τελικό. Ποια είναι τα συναισθήματά σας εν ώψη της αυριανής ημέρας? Γράφετε ιστορία και για το ελληνικό ποδόσφαιρο. Αν θέλετε να μας πείτε και δύο κουβέντες στα ελληνικά, θα μεταφράσω εγώ την ερώτηση στα αγγλικά. The question is about your personal thoughts. You are the first Australian and also Greek guy to coach a team in the European final. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very proud of that because I think, it's kind of what I was saying before, that just to me, to be in this position where I've come from. I was born in Greece. I'm very proud Greek. My father made sure that, I understood where our roots were and what it means to be Greek, and I've carried that through my whole sort of life. And I grew up in Australia, and in the other side of the world where football, unfortunately, wasn't a prominent sport. But my father, he took his love of football from Greece to Australia, and he worked really, really hard. As I've said before many times, my mum and my dad, they left their home country, their family, everything they knew for their kids, for me. And I hold that dear to my heart. And he's not with me today, but he is with me all the time. So I feel it very strongly. I feel, I love being Greek. I love that I was brought up in Greece. It's I think where I'll retire one day. And I love that I grew up in a country in Australia where, even though football wasn't, a big sport, when you grow up in Australia, you also have the attitude that when it comes to sport, you'll take on anyone, doesn't matter how big or small they are. And I'm proud of my roots in both. So, ευχαριστώ για την ερώτηση και είμαι πολύ περήφανος που είμαι Έλληνας.
Hi, Ange. I want to ask how important Captain Sonny has come back from injury. Like, how much do you trust him, and how his experience can motivate to the younger players in squad?
Yeah, massive to get Sonny back. We were a little bit worried when he picked up the injury because we just weren't sure, how long he was going to be out for. But he worked so hard and to make sure he was back, and really pleased the other night to see him, play 60, 70 minutes, and you could see his sharpness is coming back. But he's so important to the group. He's so important as a leader. He's such an important figure at this football club. And, it's a big motivation and driver for all of us, including me, to give him a trophy that his career deserves, because, again, he's a guy who's come from the other side of the world. Not many players have come from Asia and it's stayed in the Premier League, the top league in the world for so long, maintaining that excellence. And it would be great to kind of, cap that off with a trophy for him. But he knows, and we all know that we've still got to do the work. He's been in this position before, obviously, with the Champions League final, so he has that experience. I'm sure he'll pass that on to the players.
We've only got time for two more, so we'll go Dave and then finish with Alex, please.
Hi, Ange. Over here, Ange.
Oh, sorry.
Just following on from what you said to Matt, we've spoken to quite a lot of the players in the build-up to the final, and they're all very conscious about, the subject of your future. I just wondered, have you had to address that with them as a group?
No, because I think, again, that would be not really helpful in what is before us right now. I've said to the lads from day one, it's nothing's guaranteed in life. Nothing's guaranteed in sport. So you just got to try and make sure you take every opportunity before you, and that's what I've done my whole career. I've been in this position before, where the big game was the last game I managed. It's not unusual territory for me, and I've always navigated that pretty well, because for me nothing's more important than my responsibility to this football club to its fans that tomorrow me and the players' minds are only on one thing, and that is trying to create something special. Well, I mean, I qualified for a World Cup. I left, won the treble with Celtic, and left. So,
Alex, to finish, please.
Won at Brisbane. I left. It's actually more common than you think. So.
That sort of leads on to my question, actually, Ange, because I think the assumption is that your future will be decided purely by the hierarchy in the football club.
My future is assured. I wouldn't be the first person who changes jobs, mate. We all change jobs. I'm sure you've had more than one job. My future's assured. I've got a beautiful family. I've got a great life. I'll keep on winning trophies till I finish, wherever that is. So don't worry about my future, mate. My future is not entwined with anything. Right, my future is assured, you know, provided, God willing, my health remains and my beautiful family is beside me and my friends. There's nothing wrong with my future, mate. Don't stress, mate.
I meant specifically...
Sleep easy at night.
I will try.
I'll be okay.
I will try. But I meant specifically at Tottenham. Is there a scenario where you win the trophy and you think, actually, my job is done here?
No, because I don't think my job is done here. We're just, you know, I really feel like we're building something, and what a trophy does is hopefully accelerates that. So I still think there's a lot of work to be done. That's quite obvious with the way we've sort of, you know, the challenges we've had this year, which I think are well chronicled. But you know, I think there's some reasoning in that, in the context of that. But also there's been some growth that I'd like to see through. But you know, whether that happens or not is not that important right now. But I don't think. No, but far from think this job's finished, and I certainly feel like, you know, there's some growth there that we can take this club to where it needs to be.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. That concludes Tottenham Hotspur's pre-match press conference for the UEFA Europa League final. There'll be an open training session starting at 5:30 on the pitch. Then their opponents, Manchester United, will do a walk around at 7 p.m. and their press conference will start at 7:30. Thank you very much.